Peace, y'all. Before we get started, I felt compelled to remind everyone to stay safe and stay abreast of all the atrocities happening around the world. The people of Palestine, Tigray, Congo, Sudan, Haiti, and countless other territories are currently fighting for their rights and their lives. And if you're choosing to take action, please take every precaution you can. Stay hydrated, stay in groups, cover your face, and please, more than anything, don't lose hope. I've been leaving links to organizations and resources at the bottom of every episode description for a good minute, so please go check those out for places to donate and to find ways to take action today. We're not free until all oppressed people in the States and abroad are free. Much love, stay strong, and stay dangerous. What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is New York producer, multi-instrumentalist, and vocalist Anysia Kym. We spoke about Poor Things, bonding with her brother over the Barbie movie, the hype of Timothee Chalamet, Child's Play, local movie theaters, growing up on the music of Raven-Symone and Ty Dolla, transitioning from playing the drums to producing drum and bass, the idea of genre, working with Mike and 10K, and the creative process behind her latest project, Truest. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to Real Notes. It's a Friday. Yeah, it's a Friday. I'm feeling good. You know, we're all smoothie and matcha'd up over here. Y'all can't see it, but we're feeling good. We're feeling sunny. Yeah, it's just I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it's not very often that my brain's just like completely empty. I usually have something to start. I usually have some sort of thought, but like, I have no thoughts. Things are cool. You know, Dylan Green, CineMasai, got a lot of names, do a lot of shit outside, inside, all sides. And I'm with somebody else who's also all over the place, musically, creatively, hobby. Anysia Kym is here, you know, wonderful producer. Truest has been out for a while, like at least probably like bordering on a month at this point, right? Type shit.
A little over like a month and some days.
Damn, wow, like where does the time go? But more than anything, Anysia, thank you so much for being here. It means the world. Like, it's been beautiful to see the growth, and just like, you know, you're about to do NTS, like you just said off camera, but like, congratulations and thank you so much for being here. It means the world.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. This is such a sweet introduction. You got me blushing over here.
Yeah, no, man. This is all like we want to cultivate the good vibes. You know, like good music comes of it, and good community and all that good shit. So yes, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Oh, strong opinion. Honestly, I don't know if someone would deem it a strong opinion, but I just watched Poor Things after like hearing about it for like, I'm not like a big movie aficionado, which I wish I could sit here and say like I have like a what is the app called where people like watch movies and review them?
Oh, Letterboxd.
Are on Letterboxd, and I'm not quite there yet. But so something like one night I was like, whatever, let's finally put this on. I love Emma Stone, and that movie was brilliant to me. Like, I absolutely loved how I really didn't look into it either, because I hate spoilers. Like, I won't really watch trailers. I feel like trailers,
right,
give or take, gonna give you like 75% of the movie.
Especially now, that shit's crazy. Like, it's so flagrant. Like,
I want to watch the movie. Like, I like to go into it blind, so I'm very glad that I did, because it was so emotional, and it was like, especially being a woman, and like, though the character's not a Black woman or a Black femme, it's like you can completely relate to once you understand that nature of free will, and just the men who played the characters surrounding her, and how her relationships with different relationships between them gave them their own perspective on giving this woman free will. It was really I haven't watched a movie in a while that I would want to rewatch, but like I feel like I would want to like bring the homies over and be like, let's all watch this shit. It's actually
Yeah. Nah, for sure. It was definitely one of those when I first saw it. I think I might have seen it like a month or so after it came out, like at the end of last year. But yeah, no, my partner and I saw it, and that shit was great. You
how
know, like it
like when did this movie even come out?
must have been like November, December of last year. Cause like I think they put it out like just in time for it to get like picked up for the Oscars. Cause Emma Stone won Best Actress for it.
Right. And that even I think that even prolonged me watching it another like I don't know why I can't speak today also. I don't it prolonged me watching it probably another good month because I'm like, I need the hype to die down. And I'm
About
like, did her big one, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, nah, like, cause I mean, like, I was already interested just off the general idea. Like, I love the visual aesthetic. I love the idea of just like, you know, like playing around with free will and like, especially, you know, like, just like I already knew that having Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, Gerard Carmichael, just like them, just like on some bullshit with Emma Stone was gonna be crazy anyway, and just her just kind of trying to take the power back however she could. Like I was already in just off of that alone, but I saw she and the director, I always fuck this guy's name up. It's Yorgos Lanthimos. He's a Greek film director. They made a movie called The Favorite, I think like 5 years ago. That's
Because I need a
sorry.
list. I'm gonna get a list out of this
Yeah.
interview.
No, I got you. So like The Favorite, it's Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman. It takes place, I think, in like the 18th century, and it's about like Olivia Colman's like the queen, and Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz are these two women kind of like vying for her affection. I think Rachel Weisz is like her right hand, like not like lieutenant's the wrong word, but she's like her like assistant who takes care of all the particulars, and like she and Emma Stone are kind of like jockeying for position. It's like a
Is
like
it
they're just kind of sorry, what?
is it queer?
It's queer. It's super duper queer. Yeah, no, it's a whole love triangle. Like the queen is having sex with the both of them, and they're it's a lot of psychosexual goodness going on. I wasn't expecting all that, but like I watched it and I was like by the time it was over, I don't want to spoil any of it, especially since you're not about, but it's fire.
All right, sick. Writing that
Yeah,
very much.
especially if you fuck with Poor Things. Like the favorite really tees all that up in terms of like themes, and like it's not as like one of the things I loved about Poor Things, like outside of like how it explores queerness and femininity and just like all sorts of like everything with free will, like I just love the like it really did feel like a pop-up book for adults. Like I love the visual aesthetic, like all the sets look gorgeous.
Like incredible. Like yeah, it was exactly that. Like every part of it was so beautiful, and when it would bounce from black and white to super duper pixie color, like that's like my favorite part. And I was sober watching it, so like imagine like the person who's on shrooms watching this, or like off like something. It was a beautiful journey. Yes.
Yeah. Nah, I like that's one where like I've never like I don't really do drugs like that, but like I spent half the time wondering what it would be like to be on shrooms watching fucking Poor Things. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if I would have been able to handle it, but it just kind of did like I left feeling like I was on drugs, if that makes sense. It was yeah.
I'm glad it was one of those like, because I feel like I get stuck in a loop of like rewatching the same shit. And movies I like to watch with people. So I was very shocked that I like sat through this very long movie by myself, and like it was like I could definitely watch it again.
That's fire. Yeah, no, that shit was almost 3 hours. So like that's
3 hours.
Yeah, because I think between there were like two other. It was Oppenheimer. Barbie was almost three, or actually no. Barbie wasn't as long as Oppenheimer. It felt like it sometimes, but
the Oppenheimer. It was like a first Oppenheimer, and I saw Barbie. And
Yeah,
also,
I saw him. I saw him. I wanted to do the Barbenheimer thing and watch them back to back, but I was in Chicago when they both came out, and I was leaving. I saw Barbie literally 2 hours before I hopped on my plane back
mm,
home to Jersey. And then I saw Oppenheimer like 2 days later, and like I preferred Barbie if I had to pick one. Like I don't like
made the right choice. It sounds like.
like I liked Oppenheimer. I thought it was cool, but I feel like I've mentioned this a couple times on here, but like I'm tired, or like tired's the wrong word, but how do I put this? Movies about white men doing bad things and feeling bad about it,
Bro.
like it's not for me, like it's for somebody's gonna get something out of that, but I didn't really get much out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Never enticed me, honestly. 3 hours. It honestly, the color grading didn't like, and again, I'm no pro, but it wasn't even interesting enough for me to sit through that. But it was more like if I were to watch it, it's because I would want to be part of the cultural conversation, which is
felt
why I watch a lot of shit. But yeah, I never got around to that. Eventually.
yeah, it's like, yeah, like to me it's not like must watch. Like you'll watch it, like it was entertaining, it's not like it was a bad movie. I don't know, like I watched it and I was like, okay, I don't really think about it much anymore.
I need to have my like. I need to be wowed for 3 hours. So
For real. But what'd you think about Barbie?
I like Barbie. I went to see it with my brother actually, which was all the more interesting because
Mm.
um, it was like I left being like, wow, I really enjoyed this. But then after like a week or two, it was like, I mean, it definitely is like intro to feminism, but
That's exactly what I said. That's so crazy.
there's a space for that, and like that's cool, and it's a cutesy movie. Like it's a cutesy movie. I have no issue with it.
Right. Yeah, like yeah, like I really I'm like once again, like visually gorgeous. I love, like, to me, like I'm a big toy person, so I love how they kind of played with like the physics of toys and made it like they were like these are dolls we're talking about, like literally and figuratively dolls.
I
So
grew
like
up,
I liked.
girl, like my grandma and my mom would buy me like the anniversary Barbies and the special edition Barbies.
Okay.
Yeah, and that aspect was super cute. I also kind of struggled with it being like Margot Robbie was a great cast, but like like I don't know, she was maybe I didn't grow up thinking that Barbie was like the like pillar of beauty. I don't know. Like my dad, for example, wouldn't let me have white Barbie dolls. Like he was very like, no, we're not doing that. But over time, like
Right.
some Christmases, you get certain gifts, whatever. But like
Of course, yeah, yeah.
style, I was more of a Bratz girl, for honest. Like when the Bratz came out, I was
Hmm.
all over that. Me and my besties were playing with Bratz dolls, but it was cute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel basically the same way. Like I really like. I've seen it a bunch because my partner really enjoyed the movie, and like once again, like before somebody comes after me, I really liked the movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Like I'm not here saying it was bad or anything, but it definitely gave me very, like, once again, like somebody's gonna watch this and have their whole mind exploded in a way that I'm just like, I'm past that. Like we all know this, but I will say it was watching, like I saw it in a packed theater, and of course, like, it ends with her going to the gynecologist's office, and the first thought in my head is like, this is gonna piss so many people off, and it made me so happy, just the fact that they ended on that note. I was like, perfect, like this is like, toss the fucking gauntlet, son. Like I was ready.
I wasn't ready for that, but it was like a simple yet effective way to end it. I wasn't mad at the ending at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me either.
like there were moments when like my brother was like we had I was turning up in the car like, you see, this is exactly why I feel myself being like possessed by the spirit of the movie, and I know he was like, oh my god, of all the movies for us to have our brother sister bond day, I didn't expect it to be this one, but we had good conversations. I feel like he was like, I mean, I feel like for femmes it might be like duh, and for dudes it might be like, okay, another reminder. That's how I saw it.
Right. Yeah, and like at the end of the day, if those conversations are being had, then I guess the movie did its job. Like Greta Gerwig is very like that was all intentional, of course. So, yeah, because like she based her screenplay off of like a specific book of like third wave feminist theory. I can't remember what it was. It'll come back to me later. Maybe I'll look it up. But like I was like doing research before I saw it, and it was like based on Barbie and this book with a long title. And I was like, I looked into the book, and I'm like, damn, she like really, she wasn't playing like like that. But like that's the only way I'd expect her to approach a Barbie movie like this. And I don't know if you saw her remake of Little Women, which I actually really enjoyed.
I need to. Is Timothee Chalamet in that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting you bring that up because I just watched Dune. Sorry, my cat is doing this thing where when he doesn't get attention, he uses my yoga. It's not that. Anyway, I had a thing for a long time against Timothee Chalamet, and I think I kind of like protested him for some reason. I think he was like too hype. I didn't get it, and then I watched for the first time like a week ago. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna catch up on my like. And I was like, damn, like, okay, this thing can act for real. I understand it. And I think because of my little protest, there's a whole chapter of movies that I need to catch up on, including Little Women, because of Timothee Chalamet, honestly.
Man, so I'm gonna say I still don't get it. I saw Dune 2 like a month and change ago. I still don't get it. I don't get it.
New York City theater kid. I think that's what it is. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
He's a geek, but he has a sex appeal, not necessarily to me, but I can see it. There's like charisma. At first I was just like, oh, annoying, like I don't give a fuck. But now I'm like, oh, you know what? Like I would hang out with this person. I can watch 3-hour movies with them and not be like, I don't want to see this person's face anymore. So yeah.
That's valid. You ever see his rap videos before? He used to like rap with his friends in high school, and like
I have the one. There's like a viral dance based on him on TikTok. I love TikTok. Yeah. But that's everything I know about Timothy. Timothy is kind of against my will, and the little pieces and clues I had were not doing enough for me. But then I watched Dune, and I was like, okay. And then I know like him and Zendaya have like a cool friendship, and not to get parasocial, but I'm like, okay, if Zendaya fucks with him, and like maybe there's something there. So yeah.
I get it.
This week, speaking of that, I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I'm seeing Challengers next week.
Crazy. I'm going tonight. I can't wait. I'm so hyped.
Tonight, but my friend had some we had to change it to next week, so I have to mute Challengers on Twitter and shit.
Damn. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like when you see it, we got to talk about it because I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it like later tonight, probably like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight. So
tickets, honestly.
What happened?
Shout out to you for being able to get tickets, because when we had to change our date, we're seeing like a super late movie, and it's on a Tuesday. We were like, oh, no one's gonna. By then, everyone saw it already. It's looking like it's gonna be like that for a while. So I can't wait.
Damn. Okay. I mean, I didn't get my tickets yet, so I'm gonna have to go check. But do you go to the theater often? Because it sounds like you go to the movies pretty often.
I love movie theaters. I think that's why I don't see movies at home that often. Like, I love the vibe of a movie theater. One birthday, I had a movie theater party. Like, a friend worked at a WeWork, and they had a private theater. BYOW, we're renting out the movie. We're renting out the theater. And I invited 20 people when we watched. I don't even remember what movie we watched, because sometimes it's not even about the movie. It's about the lights low, the popcorn, the gasps, the in unison. I love that shit. So
the atmosphere, man, it's everything. It's everything.
During the pandemic, when they were saying the theaters industry is dying, I was I really don't see how, and maybe it was just blind optimism too, but I'm I don't see how the theater industry could die, because that's something you can do alone. That's something you could do with a group. It's perfect. I don't know. I love the theater.
Yeah, you and me both. Like I can't tell you how many. I mean, like I'm an AMC Stubs A-list member, so I just like, you know, like I just make the reservation and post up. But like even before that, like I would like $6 Tuesday was my thing. I would just like that was like my I need to get out the house. Let me go catch a movie for 2 hours. Like I don't know. Like I've just been in love with movie theaters since I was like a little kid, like from the time I saw Lion King, and it was a wrap, you know. Like my dad tells me the story all the time about how like I was like 3 and the movie came on and I was like standing like on the chair like this the whole time, like and it's
Yeah, something
yeah.
about it. I remember like my mom taking me and my friends to see like Mean Girls for a birthday. Like
Uh-huh.
the theater is just such a, and especially because when I grew up in the Bronx, there was one movie theater there was like really one. I lived in Co-op City, so there was like really one movie theater that you go to at Bay Plaza. So
Okay.
like you see kids at school and you'll see kids and their families at the movies. So it was just like such a community staple. And I'm sure most people can relate to that with their like local movie theater. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, definitely. Yeah, especially like because I mean like growing up for me, I lived in a town that had, I mean like I'm trying to think of how many, because there was the one uptown, there was there were like a handful of smallish movie theaters kind of spread out throughout my town, and then like there's like other like neighboring towns and they would have their own theaters, and like it got to the point where like my family would start going to like the different theaters, like depending on like because of course, you know, like local movie theaters don't have all the screens in the world. It's not like an AMC that's got like 12, 13. Like the Bellevue Theater in Montclair, shout out to Montclair, had, well I mean actually no, the Bellevue's been closed for a decade, but like it had 4 screens.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was and one of them, I think the first and third Saturday of every month they would have like a troupe come in and do Rocky Horror Picture Show. So like they would show the movie, and like this and like this group of people would like they would do the thing where they like have they have like the sing along, and they would sell you like a $10 pack of like, there's like a scene in the movie where you have to throw rice when Janet and what's his face get married, and like there's a scene with like a paper bag. Like it was like a whole thing. I had a homie, me and my homie Sam and I would go to there all the time and just like, you know, like stuff like that. But you know, like if you didn't, but like I was in an area that had like a local movie theater and a bunch of different AMCs, so I would just kind of move around and just see whatever I could wherever it was playing type shit. And one of them was an indie theater, like back when they wouldn't show indie movies in any big theater. So I was lucky enough to get a taste of all of that as a kid.
That's,
But yeah, I'm like, I haven't been back to that theater in a while either. I kind of want to go just because, but anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. Co-op City, like movie theaters out there, like there's kind of like a crazy, like I was just uptown yesterday, so it's crazy to think that like there aren't that many movie theaters like uptown. Like
yeah, there's like another favorite of mine is the one in Harlem on 125th.
Magic Johnson, yeah.
The last movie I saw there, because there's certain movies that you like have to see at the Magic Johnson Theater.
Yeah.
I remembered it might have been Notorious.
The Biggie movie.
I feel like it was Notorious, but it's just certain movies that I'm like, oh no, we gotta see it at the Magic Johnson Theater. But yeah, there really aren't that many theaters. I mean, then like once you get below 96, I'm not really sure what people do between East Harlem and the Bronx.
Right. Yeah, it's like I just noticed because every once in a while I'll like go and just like see what AMCs are like throughout, and like obviously most of them are condensed between like 96 and like West 4th Street basically, and then everything else is either like the IFC Center or like a local theater or like something like attached to a school or some shit. But see, I'm glad you brought up the Magic Johnson Theater because I was there last year. I saw you ever see Black Dynamite?
Did I see Black Dynamite? I think that's one of the movies that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sit through this. I'm very picky. That's my thing. Like, if that's why I like movie theaters, because like I really something about just being there. I watch whatever. But if I'm at home, I'm like, I probably won't watch this. Let me see if I've seen. Is that what's his face's son is in it?
I don't know.
Denzel's son. Are you
No,
talking?
no, 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 no.
Oh, you're talking
Wait,
about.
wait.
No, yeah, I have not seen this movie. But what am I thinking about?
So what? So like, so like I won't explain too much, but Black Dynamite, it's like it's a parody of like 70s blaxploitation movies, like to the point where it's like it's so eras, it's so sorry, what'd you say?
This is so embarrassing. I'm thinking of a completely different movie that is not like Black Klansman, which is a kiki, but I mean, you don't need to watch that like more than one time. That
Hell
is
no,
so
son.
embarrassing. Okay, ignore that part.
Nah, you're good. Black Klansman was mid, but it's okay.
Mid, what the fuck? And they let Adam Driver say nigga. I was like, all right, guys.
I that shit still makes me laugh. Like every once in a while, somebody will like repost it on Twitter, and I just like and like I'll just like I'll blink and I watched it 8 times. It makes me laugh every time I see it. But Black Dynamite's it's a parody of 70s blaxploitation movies, and like they made like the director made it with the specific cameras, and they got Adrian Young to come and do like the score for the movie, and he made the score on like all the old instruments. They like got all the costumes from all the different movies. The movie's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's like if you've ever seen a blaxploitation movie, you'll probably appreciate it. It's my favorite movie ever. It's maybe the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've watched that movie like 80 million times. I think it came out in 2009.
Yeah.
So I've seen that movie like dozens of times in the last 15 years. The movie's great.
I will. It's on my list. Thank you.
Nah, yeah, no doubt. But I bring that up because last year the guy who made it, Michael Jai White, he directed a movie called The Outlaw Johnny Black, which was it was supposed to be, or it is, a spiritual sequel to Black Dynamite, but it takes place in like it's a Western. But the tone was kind of weird. Like you could tell they were like, it was still kind of jokey, but they were also kind of like trying to make a serious movie, and it didn't work for a lot of reasons. Because there's this whole plot where he's like faking being a preacher so he can like get with this like deaconess lady or whatever, and like there's a whole bit with like a bunch of like white people being First Nations, Native American people, and I'm like, so like, is this a joke? So like, is this a joke or not? Like I couldn't tell if it was trying to be on some like Blazing Saddles shit, where like the whole thing was they even do the bit. I'm not sure if you've seen Blazing Saddles or not, but there's like a famous scene in the movie where like somebody like punches a horse. Like they get into a fight, and somebody like just literally just knocks a horse in the face, and they do that in The Outlaw Johnny Black. So I'm like, is this supposed to be a joke or not? You know, like, and it was just kind of all over the place. But I'm glad I saw it at the Magic Johnson Theater, because it was like me and like two 75-year-old black ladies and like one random dude in the back, and like that's the only way I would have wanted to watch that movie. So
exactly. No, exactly. I feel like the next movie I see, I hope the next movie comes around where I'm like, nah, this one's a Magic Johnson Theater movie. For sure.
Yeah, it's a vibe. If you know, you know, for sure. That's so funny. So okay, let's take it all the way back with you now. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. Like the first thing that comes to mind.
The first movie theater, it's not a theater experience. The first movie experience that comes to mind is my mom running errands, leaving me with my big brother and my cousin. And they put on Chucky, and I was deeply afraid of scary movies. So they sat on me, they held my hands back, they held my eyelids open, and they forced me to watch Chucky. So that is my first horrible experience. I think there was also like Candyman involved in there. So yeah, like my brother's an 80s baby, and though now if I watch those movies, they're like, what the fuck, like this isn't scary at all. Chucky will still low-key, I don't know, maybe it's just like I'm just triggered at this point, but I'm forever traumatized. But yeah, that it's torment, but it's also bonding, because I'm like, y'all had to babysit me, and y'all wanted
right
movie, so thanks for making me a part of it, I guess. I don't know.
Do you remember? Okay, so do you remember which Chucky movie it was? Was it like one of the Child's Play movies, or was it like Bride of Chucky?
It was Child's Play.
Mm.
One of them.
Yeah, no, I get it, cause like I have a thing with uncanny valley shit, like stuff that's like right in between like being like human and not human. Like I have a when I was younger, I kind of had a thing with animatronics. So like whenever you like go to like Disney World or shit, like every once in a while it would get to the point where I'm like, that thing kind of freaks me the fuck out. Like Chucky kind of did that to me for a little bit, but I'm also a big horror movie person. So like after a while, it's just like those movies are like so silly and over. But like the scene because there's a scene in the first Chucky movie where the mom first learns that the doll's sentient, and like she's like holding this big ass life size good guy's doll in her hand, and like his face gets all contorted out of nowhere, and he reaches at her, and I'm just like, bro, like I'm never touching a doll again. Like, nah, like
I was the type of kid who would like have tea parties with my stuffed animals and shit. So
yeah.
after seeing that, I'm like, damn, I can't even really trust my own people. Like this is my team. And now I'm a little like, I don't know, I gotta give it. And my brother was such a like having a big brother, like he was a classic big brother. Like he loved Freddy vs. Jason. He dressed up as what is the Scream cat? His name is not
Ghostface.
yeah,
Ghostface. Yeah.
was Ghostface like every Halloween. So it was like at home, like any opportunity that he could make it a reminder that like you never know what's lurking around the corner. That was his favorite shit to do. So yeah.
Did he have the Ghostface mask with the heart, the pumping?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. So okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, like they used to, or I think they still sell them, but like they had Ghostface masks with like fake blood in them, and they have like a heart that you would like pump to bring the fake blood down. I had one year. Yeah, that was a classic 2000 shit, man. Like that was like the shit to wear. Like
Honestly, someone should bring that back because that's just like now you can really like make that kind of cunt. Like that was like a little ahead of its time because it was really well done and really scary but not messy. Hi.
Yeah, no, like to be honest, like I'm in a Drag Race mood too because I just finished watching the new season of Drag Race. Like I want a queen to do some shit like that. Like make it happen now. Somebody like I know Nymphia Wynn just won. Like Nymphia, fucking make that happen. Make it yellow. Like you got it. You're straight. Like
that would be sickening. I would really love to see that. I mean, that's the thing about like the gore post 1998, but like before 2010s when it got like now we're using CGI and we're trying to make it as like pre-Saw. I can watch that and be like, okay, I can sleep at night. But once we get to like once the Saw, like I guess there's more than 3. I don't Saw.
There's 10 of them shits. They just put up a 10th one, I think earlier last year. Yeah.
That's when it was like, all right, now we're kind of like we're losing the plot. It's not even about scary now. It's kind of just it's like sick and twisted and like who is enjoying this? Like a sicko is really like into Saw somewhere. Sorry, no offense if you're like really into Saw, but like that's just it's just too sick. I'm not into that.
It's a lot. I get it. I really like the last one that came out.
Last one, okay, because the first 2 were cool. I actually enjoyed the first 2. The third
the first one's a classic, in my opinion.
Like classic.
Crazy.
They didn't need to make 8 more. I mean, and a broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm hoping by the 10th one they like collected their notes and like, all right, let's drop like some heat again because we're now too indulgent from 3 to 9.
I get it. I was curious and I looked it up. Like, I mean, like, of course, people like have the compilations of all the traps. They got them on YouTube. Like, there was a period of time where I just like went through a couple just to see, and like some of them, these people are sick, man. Like in a like it's I don't know, like the torture porn shit was really big in the 2000s and then kind of coming into the 2010s. Like once again, like I'm not opposed to that sort of thing, but like after a while, you know, like I get through like one of my best friends, my man Michael Crash Prez, he's obsessed with the Saw series. He even saw the one with Chris Rock that came out a couple years ago, Spiral, I think it was. But like, you know, like I just from like for me, I fell off around 4 because the story just kind of got ridiculous. Like it was just too much for me to follow, and I was like, I'm out.
It's definitely not even about the story anymore. You just are like really enjoying which ways can we kill these people off now, like, and let's throw in a little storyline in there because like it's a movie, so there should be something.
Right. It was almost like a nice tradition just to like know like every Halloween there's a new Saw movie coming out, you know, like it was fun the way they did it. But like by the time I got to the one where like they had this, like there was this one trap where like everybody in the trap had to give up like a pound of flesh, of like their own flesh, to like set off a scale to do a thing like a mousetrap Rube Goldberg machine thing. And this one black lady, like she just started chopping her arm off, and like near the end of it, like you just like see this look on her face, and she just looks like, for lack of a better word, like feral. And I'm just like, I'm out. I can't do this. Like this is too much. This is OD. Like
I'm like, do we think a foot weighs a pound?
Yo, my fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the all new Real Notes Patreon page real quick. If you're looking for ways to connect and directly support the podcast, the Real Notes Patreon is the best way to do so. For as little as $5 a month, you can gain early day before access to every forthcoming episode of Real Notes, as well as an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, where you can talk to others about the latest and greatest in movies and music, come through for some listening sessions, and talk about whatever else is on your mind. I know I'm gonna be talking a bunch. If you feel like coming up off a little bit more, you could get cool exclusive content like audio from Real Notes Live and Real Talk interviews. Those will be exclusive to patrons and ticket holders moving forward. Access to retro versions of my 60-second Minute Maid movie reviews, and even a monthly writing and podcasting workshop hosted by me. Regular episodes will still be available on a weekly basis anywhere you get your podcasts, but if you want the extras, you gotta come out them pockets a bit. Check us out at patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES. I appreciate your consideration and support more than you know. Now let's get back to talking.
Because if everyone chopped off a foot, like, all right.
Right, because like one person took off like a couple cuts of like belly fat. One person put like their whole arm in there. I forget. I know too much about this shit, but you know, I like curiosity gets me sometimes when it comes I'll put myself through the ringer just to be like, just to like know what it is. I don't know. At least
a scary movie, and at home I will fast forward to see like prepare for the jump scare, and then I'll rewind to know that it's or I'll like Google like who dies. I don't have like the psychological patience for scary movies once we get to a certain threshold of like horror.
I feel you. Yeah, it gets to be a lot. I get it. I like to be surprised. I love to see where that type of stuff will take me. I've seen some pretty sick movies in my day, and it's just kind of been fun. Maybe fun's the wrong word, but sometimes it's nice to just like let it wash over you and just, you know, like let it just kind of linger. And I don't even know. But on the record, the Saw movies are cool with me. But I get it. But no, I totally get it. So like as you get older and you start to have more life experience, like was there a movie, like what was the first, or not the first, but like what was one of the first like capital M movies you saw, like something that really like connected with you on like an artistic or emotional or spiritual level, like any one of those?
Wow, that's a good question. As someone who does not watch that many movies, damn, connected with me on a spiritual level. The silence. I don't know how to answer this one. I feel like there's not many movies that when I watch movies, I kind of like the fantasy of it. So I feel like
cool.
I don't necessarily watch movies to like, I think one movie that I guess I would say like resonated with me.
Yeah.
Was like, and it's basic. I don't want to say it, but it's basic.
That's okay. We love basic here.
So I feel like as like the storyline and everything everywhere all at once with the mother-daughter As a firstborn daughter, in recent memory, I'm sure there's one that is more hard hitting, and this is gonna end. I'm gonna be like, fuck, should have said this one, but that's what came to mind now. But that storyline was really beautiful because you realize like your mother is just a girl, like she's just a girl, just like you are. So we're all just trying to figure out how to overcome the trauma that our parents caused us by accident because we're human. But that's definitely not the first. That's just the one that I have right now.
Yeah, that works. I mean, you know, it hasn't come up on here in a while, and I really loved it. It was kind of wild to see public perception of it change. Like as soon as like it won Best Picture, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, shit was overrated." I was like, "Wait a minute, where was all of this?" Like, I mean, I don't know.
Movies up to speed either because
Right? Yeah.
didn't know that people. I had to watch it a few times first of all because the first time I saw it was in theaters, and I was like, I think maybe I was on a date or something because I was like, why am I not connecting with this? I feel like I was on a date and I was like not in my body and not going for the movie. I was just like, this is just a thing to do. Then I watched it on the plane, and I feel like when you watch a movie on the plane, like you're really locked in with a movie.
You gotta be, yeah.
I'm like, okay, like damn, this is a fantastic story, but I didn't know that people felt that way. Overrated.
Yeah. Maybe. No, sorry, what?
I think it was rated, like accurately rated.
100%. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too online, but I saw a lot of people just like out of nowhere, just like a lot of people who were like either quiet about it or liked it were like, yeah, it wasn't all that great. And like after a while, I was like, yeah, nah, it's I don't know, man. I really loved it. Like just from a creative perspective, and like the directing was great, the writing was great, the whole cast. Like, I don't know, like that's the type of movie that like so many different ideas just came together over 2.5 hours, and it's so hard to make that work.
Yeah,
like, and they made it work.
They made it work, and they didn't make it cheesy.
Yeah, because it easily could have been cheesy.
Yeah,
but you know, like it worked for me, and I've actually been meaning to rewatch it because it's been a good 6, 7, 8 months, or however. Maybe even longer than that. I don't know. But it's been a good minute though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And now you reminded me because you said something about the plane. the last 2 movies I can remember watching on a plane. Paul Thomas Anderson's what the fuck was it called? Phantom Thread with Daniel Day-Lewis.
What is this movie?
So Phantom Thread is a movie about this like clothing designer in like the 19th century, or no, maybe the mid to late 20th century. But like he winds up meeting this woman at a restaurant, and like they start a relationship, and then it turns toxic and poisonous, and they start hating and arguing with each other, and like she poisons him at one point. It's wild. It's pretty goddamn wild. And I watched it on a plane, and that shit was dope. Like it's the type of movie I would have watched by myself anyway, because I'm a big Paul Thomas Anderson fan, and I think it was supposed to be Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie before he retired, so it was like a big deal when it came out. And watching that on the plane watching that movie end on a plane, like I'm just over here like holding my head, and somebody next to me is just like, you know, that was crazy. And then I saw Toy Story 4 on my way home from Texas. I can't remember. All I remember is that I watched the movie 4 times with no sound because I had no headphones. So I watched the movie 4 times. So I've seen Toy Story 4 times, but I've never watched it with sound.
Captions only.
Like not even captions. I'm sitting here reading lips and shit. Like it was like I had nothing else to do on the plane, so I'm just watching the movie.
You're not a plane sleeper? There are people who can't sleep on the plane.
See, sometimes I'm a plane sleeper. Like I wasn't wired, but I wasn't tired either. Like I was like perfectly mellow, content. Like maybe I might have fallen asleep for like 20 minutes, but like I woke up and just, you know, like I'm just like watching like Woody and Forky have this like existential life conversation. I don't know what the fuck they're saying, you know, like so like I could tell you things. I mean, like Bo Peep's in it. The Evil Knievel doll's in it. The doll that looks like the the puppet from the Goosebumps books is in it, but I've never heard it. I don't know any of the lines. I've just seen it. I've seen it, but I haven't heard it. It was yeah, like four times in a row. It was crazy.
Damn. That's the thing about plane movies. I think one of the last ones I watched was like the newest Wolverine. I don't even know why I watched that because I've never seen any of the
Oh, Logan,
Logan.
the one where he's like older.
Yes. I don't know why I watched that because I saw X-Men, the very first one with Halle Berry, and then just straight up jumped to Logan. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna watch. And then I watched this movie. Wait, I Googled it. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh my god.
That movie was also very intense but fantastic. I was like, damn, I would not watch this if I wasn't on a plane.
Yeah. Man, yeah, like that's like to me, I could see that popping up on a plane and me. I saw it, I know the story based on it, and I didn't love it only because of like the implications about like her and the story. Like it kind of weirded me out. And sorry, what?
About the mom or about the victim, the daughter?
About the mom. Like doing my research into the story, I want to watch it again. I don't know. I left and I haven't thought about it until you brought it up just now. But like I remember watching it and being like, I don't know if I love that. Because I kind of wanted to, but like maybe I need to go back and tap it again. But it didn't do it for me personally. But I love Frances McDormand, so I'll watch anything she's in. You know,
Right.
she's
I
tough.
watched it. But it got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I know is like, they're all over the place with their reviews. But I'm like, okay, generally speaking, it's not one of the worst plane movies that I've watched.
So, but yeah, nah. I mean, like if you enjoyed it, like you enjoyed it, that's all good. Because you know, like because Peter Dinklage is in it too, and I love him. He's great.
He's great. What's the last movie I just saw? I just saw him in a movie. Like, no, I gotta look it up. Peter Dinklage movies.
He was in something recently. I can't remember what it was, but
Did I Care a Lot? I think it was I Care. I mean, that's not that recent, but I Care a Lot. And he's in the Hunger Games spinoff.
Yeah, that was it. I saw him in the trailer for that. I haven't touched any of the Hunger Games movies, so I got no. Okay. I saw the first one. I lied. I saw the first one.
I am not gonna lie. That is my shit. It's like, yeah, if ever like I'm going through like a little spiral, the homies should know because I'm rewatching the Hunger Games. In which we will be having to sacrifice. And then the sacrifices will be based on district, and then it'll be a caste and class system. Yeah. I fuck with the Hunger Games. I do.
On live TV and shit too. Like that's
we're kind of there. We're kind of there.
Yeah. So yeah, what is it? What is it about the Hunger Games movies that really like strike you like that?
I think it's, well, first of all, I don't really appreciate that they have white people telling this story of nobility and changing the system, because obviously this is only gonna happen if white people get to do it. But I do appreciate that someone felt the story was compelling enough to like create fictitious worlds and kind of scare people into thinking like if you kind of lay down and just kind of go with how things move and just like are okay with the status quo, it can eventually get this bad. And I think there's something about that I'm like, but it's also kid friendly enough. It's like pretty fucked. You have kids killing each other, but it's like it can really get that bad. And somehow they still make it like parents will bring their kids to watch this movie. Yeah.
And to me, the scariest thing about all of those movies was always seeing Stanley Tucci in that much makeup. Like they had son looking crazy.
No, the craziest character too, because he was like the guy on the news who's like, everything's going to shit, but like I am beautiful and you are too. It was like, damn, like that is like his consistency across the movies were really jarring. And the fact that they got Stanley Tucci was like a big deal to play such a character. I don't know. They
Yeah.
put a lot of they put a lot of thought into even the fact that they made PETA not that like Jennifer Lawrence is like this beautiful teenager or maybe early 20s, and she's like got her boo at home who's like blue collar man, but then she like meets this guy
Yeah.
who struggled with, and he's like not that attractive. I mean, I don't want to spoil. I mean, it's been out for like 10 years, so if I'm spoiling it, I'm sorry. Like, you should have been
Yeah,
watching.
yeah, no, you're good. They'll live. I'll live.
It just it ends with like she like gets with like she gets with the person she went through the mud with, but she never really liked him like that. It was just a really is many interesting stories. She's supposed to be this like very self-motivating, independent person, and that's why she's like the perfect person to win the Hunger Games. And then the movie ends with her having a baby and a husband. And I'm like, yep, this is Hollywood.
Yeah.
You want to keep watching because I'm like, she really like maybe it's her choice. She wanted that. They didn't make it like, well, there was no other choice, but it's like she eventually did do the like husband and marriage and baby thing.
Right. Yeah, no, it's like it's rebellious up until it rubs up against the nuclear family shit, like that's always where they draw the line. That's always where they draw the line. It's kind of crazy.
This you are going to be a kept woman with a child, right? It's like, okay, all right.
But all right, fuck it.
At least pretty fucking interesting. So
right. Damn, sorry. That was just I wasn't expecting to be talking about the Hunger Games today, so I'm happy. I'm just happy we're going in these directions. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me grace, because you have to understand I do not watch movies like that. And now that we're talking about it, I'm like, damn girl, you need to like sit down and watch something that isn't like an Oscar nominated movie.
Hey man, whatever works, like it's never I just want people to watch what they like, and like if that requires like digging deep into it, cool. If not, whatever, like it's like the world is beautiful, there's treasure everywhere. Like it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be move at your own pace. It's all here, there's treasure everywhere. But now we're at the point where let's do the same with music. When did music for you become capital M music for you? Like when did it go from being like a passive thing, or was it ever a passive thing in the background? Like was it always a thing that was just there?
Music has always been there for as long as I can remember. Like my parents are both New York natives, and like I don't come from like a musical household, but they were like, there was always a soundtrack to everything going on. And like, even when we take like family trips to Busch Gardens, and my mom would have like her CD book of like random CDs, Aaliyah, Slick Rick, Keith Sweat, like just like classic Black family music. But it was like, once it became like, okay, I want to start making music myself, but I don't know how the people that my parents had me listening to kind of got there. It was kind of nice to not have like a point of reference, because I got to get to where I'm at by myself. And that to me is the most fun part of all of this shit. Like I personally enjoy that so much. Like music was always a big part, like mixtape era. Again, my big brother, like huge mixtape era dude, like Lil Wayne tapes and Joel Santana and Cameron and shit like that. And my mom was like classic R&B, but it was like, how do I like, okay, this is radio shit. Like Hot 97 was a big deal in my house.
Of course, yeah.
But like, how do I like, I know I like music, but I want to make some shit, and I just did, because they never made me feel like I couldn't do that. It was more just like, okay, now I have to kind of find what I like. So yeah.
Right. And yeah, no, like I relate to that a ton, just in the sense that like my father sang in a doo-wop group and roller skated, so like music's always been like, he's always been the music person, and like my mother was too, but she was like she was like involved in that stuff, but like less active. You know, like he would kind of come with his shit. He had a lot of like, once again, like classic black family shit, you know, like doo-wop, R&B, soul music, like every once in a while, like a little bit of dabbling of rap here and there. My mom kind of came in with my mom's a big like Aerosmith fan, and like, you know, I mean, like a lot of like classic rock and like easy listening rock. Like I'm like, she played a lot of Sting growing up, like before I mean, like after he left the Police, but like she also loved LL Cool J. Like she loved like Headsprung, or the Definition era LL Cool J. So like Headsprung, Apple Cobbler. Like she was really into like that Breeze Stretch Shake remix with Mace and Diddy on it. Like like so like I just had all of that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, like the remix specific, I don't know why the remix specifically, but yeah, you know, like you have all of this kind of floating around, and eventually you start to branch out and find your own stuff. You know, like I go off and find all my rap shit. You know, like I mean, like I hear Bow Wow, I hear I might get Beware a Dog, and I'm like, I love this. Like this is everything I want, you know. And like from when I was 9, I've just like, rap's been like, I've been here, you know. And you know, just like moving through all of that, and like I found a lot of my shit through, like, obviously listening to the radio, getting CDs, of course, like word of mouth from friends, and of course the internet happens. But you know, like a lot of movie soundtracks, a lot of game soundtracks, a lot of TV soundtracks would put me on to, like, I got into a lot of metal through that, and like a lot of like dance and D&B and jungle shit through all of that, you know. Like I got into dance and like mixtape culture through a game called Jet Set Radio Future. Like that was like my introduction to a lot of, or at least like my firsthand introduction to a lot of that stuff. So like it was like cultivating, you know, like kind of starting with a base and then cultivating your own taste. Like I look back on all of that and I'm just like, you know, just like kind of putting together like the mixtape of like my late childhood, early teenage years in my head. It's like, there's nothing better.
No, yeah, I feel like especially like my siblings have a big part in all this too, because like, so my older brother was like super Dipset head, but my younger brother was like into like Coheed and Cambria, and like I
love Coheed, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're sick, and like he was a skater. My other brother was like a basketball player. Like they were so different, but I kind of got to like take like visits into their world, which was really nice. And it was cool because my mom has 4 kids, but we are all so different. So that's why I think I felt like it was okay to dabble in everything. And I feel like that's kind of my music making ethos now, like dabble in everything that I enjoy.
Right. That's so beautiful. Yeah, no, and like I'm mad I even forgot to mention my younger sister. Shout out to Joe if you're listening. Yeah, like my younger sister had a lot of I mean, like pop punk was huge for both of us. So like, you know, like that was around the time when like Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco were like really starting to go up like crazy. And, you know, like my sister kind of veered more toward like the indie rock stuff. And like, I like that stuff too, but I kind of relied a little more on my sister and other friends to really put me onto that stuff. Like just like we were also like really into like all like the pop groups, like not even just like the Spice Girls, but there were so many, like Bewitched and fucking Dream Street and goddamn the A-Teens. Like there was this group called the A-Teens, and all they did was ABBA covers, and they were like kids. So like they called themselves the A-Teens, and I'm just now realizing that's why they called themselves the A-Teens. But you know, just like super duper poppy shit. Like it was, like I said, we were all over the map. You know, like I was also a theater kid, so like a lot of Broadway stuff. Like a lot of crazy shit.
Okay, a side note, it's really interesting that you're not into Timothee Chalamet as a theater kid.
Nah, man.
He's not part of that. I get it. It like I feel the same way, because like I like Taina and Raven-Symone were like two. I saw those two ladies like when I
Yeah.
was in the after school program, I would like. Well, first of all, as a big sister to, so my younger brother has a twin who I didn't mention my little sister because she's like, having a little sister is interesting because they spend like the first half of their year trying to do everything you do, and then they like become their own person, and you're like, it's unrecognizable. But that's my dog. I love it.
Right.
Shout out to you. But I remember I used to choreograph dances and make them like learn the dances because I had no one else to like teach this to. But then in my after school program, I would always like choreograph dances. And then when Aaliyah passed away, I like lost it because I was wearing my hair the same way. And I remember my dad went to the gas station and somebody was selling RIP Aaliyah tees for like the low. They were bootlegs for sure because it was an official RIP Aaliyah tee, but he went to the gas station and he got me like, I don't know, like 5 of them. And like me and my homegirls in elementary school put on like a tribute RIP Aaliyah after school dance that I choreographed. So I always felt like I was like, the music was like, I had a weird attachment to it where I felt the need to be like, I just felt the need to put on a project some way. And then like when I came around to like Raven-Symone and how she was like, a triple threat is like, I feel like she's like a quadruple sextuplet threat. I'm just like, that is so cool that she acts. She's been doing this for so long. Then she put out her albums and like she has a backflip that you should listen to. Like she was really like in her bag. Like my mom would buy me like her albums and shit. This is like pre-Cheetah Girls too.
Right.
So yeah, I think just seeing Black and brown people on TV and on Disney dancing and singing was like a big inspiration.
Yeah, big time for me too. The That's So Raven and Cheetah Girls soundtracks were they got serious burn at the house, like so much. Like Raven's song Supernatural, like I remember I used to listen to that all the goddamn time. That was my shit. Yeah.
Oh my god, damn! I gotta put that on an NTS mix.
Yeah, nah, please do that. That's the shit right there. Damn. Okay, speaking of soundtracks, before we dive a little more into your history and just like your discography, was there ever a period of time when you kind of realized that music and film were two things that kind of directly go together, complement one another? Like, did that ever kind of like strike you in your head?
So my mom would always watch like she loved the movie Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Wow.
And I like that, for example, I think that's the Little Richie story it's supposed to be. But that I think that was the first time that I really thought, what is the Lorenz Tate? I thought he was the singer for real because that was so enmeshed. And like when Halle Berry was Dorothy Dandridge, for example, I thought she was Dorothy Dandridge. And then I grew up like looking into these people and I'm like, okay, these movies are so like, they're so enthralling and they really casted them so right that you like, I couldn't tell the difference between the actor and the musician. But I think that really did something to me in terms of like, okay, music, like film is film, but without the right soundtrack, without like taking the time to really sound design this, it could just be like, it didn't stick with me, but the music is really what helped stick with me in both those.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So, oh man, I completely forgot about that Little Richard movie. That's so nuts. Damn.
Such a mess, but it's like, it's so like, I really thought that, yeah, Lorenz Tate was a 50s doo-wop singer. I don't know. It was so good.
That's crazy you say that because I have two that are really, really similar. One's basic and one's not so basic. So it's my turn to be basic. The first one, the not so basic one is the Richie Valens movie. I think it's called La Bamba. So I saw it in a Spanish class. I think I must have been in like 6th or 7th grade. Shout out to Mr. Cespedes if he's listening. God damn. I saw that. I don't remember the actor's name, but like, of course, we all know La Bamba. Like it's like one of those songs. but like I didn't know anything about Richie Valens. So like I'm like watching this movie, and like because I don't know as much about him, like I thought the guy was him, and I
Right.
even got a little sad at the end because like of course like him, Buddy Holly, and the Big Bopper, they all died in that plane crash, and the movie ends with them getting on the plane. So I'm like, and then you find out like, oh, that's how they died, and it's like, no, like that
Yeah.
definitely like you're like hearing La Bamba and hearing the song Donna he wrote for that girl he was in love, like just like seeing all of that play out, like some of like the earliest examples of like a biopic I could remember seeing. And then the basic one is the Ray Charles movie with Jamie Foxx. Like
basic low-key. I don't know if I'd call that basic.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx, he ate that role up.
Yeah, no,
Charles, for real.
Yeah, no, it was a head bust, man. Like I really did think he was him, and like going to see the behind the scenes and like how he would like play with his eyes bandaged up and like play with his fingers messed up. Like, yeah,
and
he
they chose to go with someone instead of just like a really sick actor. Although Jamie Foxx is a great actor and musician, but like they could have just went with someone who's a great actor and maybe like done the whole like lip sync thing.
Right.
I think that's why that movie hit so hard, like you're saying.
Right. And then on top of that, like I remember because like all of us were so young, like he put out he put out the Unpredictable album right after. And then people were like, oh, look at him. He just made the Ray Charles movie. He thinks he could do this and that. And you're like, we all thought like, oh, this is like a lot of people thought it was just because he made the Ray Charles movie. But like, of course, like he had been making music and been playing piano since like at least a decade before all of that. So like, it was just funny to learn about all of that in real time and be like, oh, he's about this shit. Like that was like,
but he's showing us what he's been doing.
Yeah, no, like that shit was like, yeah, like that was like a pivotal, like that movie is very important to me. I've seen it a bunch of times. I like I always tear up at the end when his mom comes and tells him, when his brother comes in the dream and tells him that it wasn't his fault for because his brother drowned in the bathtub. Like he comes out, he's like, Ray, it wasn't your fault, and I always cry every time, son. That shit fucks me up.
God, no, that is another long and beautiful movie, and I'm glad that Ray Charles was able to give his blessing too. Like those, I feel like where the story is not being told after the fact are really important too.
Yeah, big time, because like he was like I feel like he had just gotten to a point where like everybody kind of he was an icon, obviously, but like it was nice to get to see him get that movie made, and then to kind of, because I think he passed maybe like 5-6 years after. But yeah, it's just nice that happened. But for you, as you kind of start to develop your tastes and just your general shit, like when did you know music was going to become more than just a hobby for you? Like when did you know you're going to go from just like experiencing it to making it type shit?
So after college, well, during college, it's so funny. I've studied fashion in college, and I did that because one of my really good friends at the time went to a fashion school, and I was like, I have to go to school, and I'm just gonna find some shit that I like think is interesting. I didn't know the first thing about fashion. I just like clothes, and I'm from New York, so I thought that was like a qualifier. I quickly learned that like people go to fashion school because they want to like run a business in fashion. Like it's not like you have to, there's so many steps to it. So, and I hated the people I went to school with, and it was like a lot of transplants, and it was also a lot of like stuck up ass people. And I'm like, y'all think y'all know this thing that's really important, but y'all don't know like this thing. I don't know. I quickly learned I was not fitting in there, but I ended up getting an internship because you had to get an internship your senior year at the Source magazine. I mean, it was failing by that point. It was like terrible. But my my brother was dating someone who worked there, and I was able to be like her assistant and write it off as like, this is my college credit. And I would literally like go to the office and dick around and type bullshit for 4 hours, and then I'd get to go to like a show. Like everyone, we would go to like, we could go, like I saw Ty Dolla Sign at SOBs, like like first trying to get on. And that show was actually crazy. And like just being able to
I'm sorry to cut you off. Was that the Free Ty era?
It was mixtape era. Like
okay.
Yeah, Beach House. it was the beach house era.
Okay.
And like very polarizing man. Like, so yeah. I would get to dick around at this office and like go see different musicians. But the coolest part was that I got to see people who their careers were in music. And like, you don't just have to be like on the label side. Like, these are like producers have a career and songwriters have a career. And this isn't something that I even knew was possible. And so I started like just like going to like renting studio time at like Midtown somewhere, just like playing drums for a few hours a week, just because like it was cathartic, it was fun. And then I met some friends who produced music, and they like cracked FL Studios on one of my laptops, and I was like making terrible beats for like 3 but I was all doing this while like juggling like a job, just because I was like, you know, I'm doing the thing. I'm getting like, I have my degree and I'm just gonna like keep paying my bills, but I don't really,
Right.
like, I didn't know anything. And then eventually I ran into some like pretty terrible job experiences, like company culture and office culture. I'm not made for. Being told what to do, I'm not made for. Quickly, and I, for the first time ever, like quit my job without having a backup plan. And like, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like actually just take more time and like get better at music. And then I met a friend who was like, oh, my friends are looking for a drummer, and I know you've been playing drums for a while, and if you want to link up and see if y'all have a vibe. And then I was in a band for 3 years, and I was really sick because I was like, oh, okay, like all of us were not formally trained musicians, but we sounded really great together. And at the same time, I was still, and shout out to Blair, and I was in that.
Always shout out to Blair.
And it was really beautiful. It taught me a lot. And then I was still making, I went back to making beats. So like I had the cracked FL Studio era, which was like terrible beat making. And then I like played drums because I was like, I think I like instruments more. And then I went back to production, and I've been producing now for like, I want to say like 6-7 years. And I still make music like a person who doesn't know what they're doing. But I think that that's kind of where my style comes from. I have my inspirations, but I'm making music for me. And I think even the experience of being in Blair, where we're all like, we're not trying to sound like anything else or anyone else. We're just reading off of each other, is like how to approach music.
Man, like it's just really wild to see. It's really wild to hear that like, because like, I mean, like, of course, like I've heard of Blair, like I've heard y'all, I mean, like I heard the stuff that y'all were doing, and like that was really dope. But like to see you went from FL Studios to picking up the drums to going back to FL Studio, you know, like that's
early. I don't know what the fuck to do in FL, by the way. they and someone cracked Ableton for me, and I'm like, thank you, because now I know what to do here.
See, like, but like that's what Fruity Loops is all about, you know. Like I feel like everybody who's ever wanted to be a musician who grew up in that time has tried to fuck around with FL Studio at least one time, you know. Like it's a rite of passage. Like some people crack the code and make, you know, genius work off it, and you know, some of us are like, yeah, this isn't for me, let me go to Ableton or go to Logic or go to whatever else. There's or you know, some people just say fuck it and go get an MPC or an SP404, you know, like it depends. So I'm really interested, like, you know, once you started making beats on your own again, like or like minus the live shit, like did anything you were doing with the drums kind of affect the way that you produced when you came back to working digital?
100%. I feel like I was making, when I first started making beats, I feel like I wasn't making beats, and I felt like I was cheating because it was so sample heavy, and I was chopping shit up, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm making music. And that's what brought me to the drums, because I was like, I really want to like I want to make music. So what if I just like record my drum takes and then do something with that? Now I feel like a legitimate musician, like I'm not cheating the system. And now that I realize like that really helped me, and kind of knowing and understanding music in that way, when I make beats now, I don't always have to sample. I can start with the drums, I can start with a melody. It definitely all helped each other. And I think, I mean, one of the first tapes I put out, on Bandcamp was a beat tape where I played live drums over it. And I just did
Mhm.
that just to like bring the two worlds together. And that was before I even started songwriting. And it was really cool because it opened up a lot of doors with like musicians who are interested in that kind of thing. So I think
Right.
doing shit and putting it out there and kind of using the experience as like an experiment is what got me to figure out like the type of shit that I want to make now. And the drums is definitely like number one in all of it every time. I don't think I've made anything drumless yet. But
Yeah, no,
maybe on the way.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, like I was gonna say, like drums kind of seem super foundational to your work. Like even if we go all the way back to this like almost 6 minute chopped and screwed kitty cat thing you have on your SoundCloud that I found earlier today. Like, you go back there and like there's such a percussive element to like I like and like it really is just like the song dragged out for almost 6 minutes. And I love that about it.
That
Like
I was like, bitch, you need to pick up an instrument because this is not music. This is you done chopped and screwed a song.
but that's beautiful. But that's the thing, that's beautiful, like there was nothing like I was listening to it and I'm like, this is hard, like some of my because it reminded me of when I first like I remember when DJ Candlestick put out the chopped and screwed of SZA's what the fuck is the album called, Control. And Broken Clocks. Broken Clocks has always been my favorite SZA song, but like hearing Broken Clocks chopped and screwed, it changed my whole perception of the song.
Right?
Like yeah, so yeah, and like that, and like like your thing with Kitty Cat did that for me. But like to see you go from that to get to like the Two Demons stuff, like Maroon and Skin and all of that stuff, to just kind of moving through like yeah, like the drums, like drums and percussion have always been so and like once again, like I'm also like I never played stick drums, but like I've been a hand drummer since high school. Like I have a djembe in my closet. So like yeah, like I'm a
Hold on. Hold on. Incredible. I think hand drumming is like that's the root for real. Like before I was on kit, I really wanted to play the djembe, but I was like, I don't the technique required is like I like that is in and of it's like bass, like that is a world
yeah.
itself. You don't get to just like make noise. You kind of have to know the technique first. So that's really sick.
Yeah, no, it's like all foundational stuff and a lot of Burt's Bees. My hands got fucked up a lot. I haven't been playing a lot within the last like 5 years, but like I started playing in high school because my high school had a West African drum club,
Uh,
and I was like, I want to be a part of this. So like that, it's yeah, like anybody who has the opportunity, like it's not like that comes along every day, but like just shout out to the drums. Just shout out to the drums and to bass. Yeah, I've also played bass. Like that foundational shit. Like I'm very in tune with like the foundational stuff that like everything else can just kind of noodle over.
mhm.
And listening to your shit, I get that a lot, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that focus
Thank you
a
so much.
lot.
I'm glad it resonates in it because I'm like, I'm doing shit and it's making sense after the fact. So I'm glad that it's making sense to you after the fact as well.
Nah, I feel it. Like that's what this process is all about. So like you start doing all this and you start to gain a little more confidence and you're kind of pulling in this acoustic and digital influence and turning this into what Anysia Kym is now. When did Mike and 10K come into the picture? And how did all that stuff start to develop?
So I met Mike because when I was in Blair, we played a show at St. Vitus and we were on the same bill. It was
Wow.
Blair, Mike, Tommy Wright, I think Show Me the Body, and somebody else. And I hadn't known Mike, but I had heard of Mike, and it was like maybe our like seventh show, and it was a cluster lineup, so it was a fun show. And I was working at a vintage store in Soho at the time, and like I'm like folding shirts a week later, and Mike walks past the store, and we look at each other, and I'm like, I know you. So he pops in, he's like, oh shit, like you were the drummer at that show we just played. You're so sick. Like let's like, would you be down to make music? And I'm like, hell yeah, like hit me up, send me some shit. And that was the first person I ever made music with outside of Blair. And it was like so nice to collaborate, but also like just like I love collaboration. Like that's just something I think that's why it's taken me a while to even put out something solo, because at the end of the day I like being part of a team, which is why 10K is so beautiful, because at the end of the day,
Right.
team. So it was very much fated. I think it was very fated, and I think it was like kismet that he walked into that store and we made music. And since then, like we locked in. Like he put out a tape, a Valentine's Day tape, I think 3 or 4 years ago that I got
I
to.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that also helped me, because I remember talking to my bandmates being like, yo, like I'm working with this guy Mike, and I don't really know, like I've never collaborated in this aspect. And they really pushed me to be like, yeah, like try it. It's all experimentation. So then when I made Soliloquy,
Yeah.
and that was like my first like solo beat tape. And I had met Navin, who manages Mike, and Mike and Navin have 10K that they had already like established. And
Yeah.
you want to release this on 10K? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. I mean, it was just gonna go on my Bandcamp otherwise. He's like, yeah, we can like, it's not like a super official thing, but we can make it a little bit more official. And like, I'm down to help you with like anything. And just a step up from just putting it on Bandcamp. We can get it on streaming, which is something I didn't consider, because my very first tape is just on Bandcamp. So
Right.
and then more like-minded people started making. I love 10K because, first of all, that's my family musically.
Yeah.
So different, and I think everyone allows each other to be so different. So it's a very beautiful thing to be a part of, because it's exactly what I think this whole journey has been. Like I can still be a solo musician, but I do have a team of like-minded musicians who care so much about their craft. And like when it works, we can also cross over, like the tape Jada and I made, which is super fun, because I met him at Mike's like 2 summers ago, and then he's like, we made one song, and he's like, yeah, let's make a tape. And I'm like, okay, sick. Like,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I can produce for somebody else. Like I'm not just producing for myself. And yeah, so it made sense. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah, like, and yeah, like I wanna echo everything you just said about 10K. Like as just like experiencing as much of it as I have from the outside. And like I've known Navin for, damn, how long have I known Navin? Back when he used to work at Orienteer before he broke off and made Jackpot. So like it's been a little while. So like watching 10K develop. Like I remember the first time I saw Mike, Slums opened for Dean Spencer at Muchmore's in
Okay.
Brooklyn. And it was like 20 of us. Like Sunflower Dean's Sunflower had just come out. So like I met Mike for the first time that night, and like it was like a quick, like, you were great, pound, whatever, and then like God bless, I think May God Bless Your Hustle, like either it was just before or just after. And then just like seeing not just him grow, but kind of like seeing the two of them establish 10K. And then like you pop up, Tay pops up, Sideshow pops up, why am I forgetting names, Jadasea pops up, like all these, it's like just kind of turning it into this like one of the things that's been beautiful about it is like seeing how all y'all sounds have kind of influenced each other, and just like how certain things have bled into other things. Like I can't imagine Dr. Graba happening without you being there. Like those two things are kind of like inseparable to me, like I hear your influence so much on that project.
And that,
like
I listened to Miss You. I literally told Mike 2 weeks ago, I was like, if there's a day that goes by and I don't listen to Miss You, I'm having a bad day. It really is like it's such a privilege to be able to like have a source where you can be influenced. And like, because I don't think any of us like knew, like at the very beginning, and any musician can relate, you want to have consistency, but you don't want to just keep making the same shit. You don't want to be afraid to like different shit. And I think that is what is so beautiful about, like, I feel like I'm able to make whatever I want to make, but I am coming into my own identity, which is really, really beautiful. I'm liking this part of the process that I'm in.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, because like kind of make because like taking the journey that I took from Soliloquy to Pressure Sensitive to Truest, like you can kind of see that, you know, like even just in the little details, because like, you know, you start out with Soliloquy, and there's, you know, like you know, like you primarily crafted both of those projects. Like there's a bunch of features on Soliloquy, and then it's just kind of you and Jada and like a handful of other people doing your thing there. Before we move on to Truest, like what was it like, talk to me a bit about moving from kind of making this like formal debut thing in Soliloquy to that's kind of like a little expansive and working with a bunch of different people to kind of locking in fully with one person for and then like a couple others, I guess, for a whole project. Because like that's not an easy transition to make, like kind of making this like sprawling thing and then making something a little more insular, you know.
Yeah, I think like because Soliloquy felt like a body of work that can just be its own experience, it actually wasn't so difficult in terms of like moving to a different project, because I knew that that would be its own experience. But it was the time period that it happened was interesting, because I feel like there was 10K was becoming like more of a solidified thing, and I was like, I hope people don't have expectations about what this is going to sound like, because Jade and I both were like, we are not the type of people who want to make something that is like expected of us. And I think that's why it was so great to work with him, and he just hopped on these like jungle and drum and bass beats, and he's like, this is the type of shit, this is how I started. Like the boom bap shit came later, but I'm
Yeah,
British. And I'm like, oh right. So it worked out, and that was a whole different experience. So it really in terms of like just getting out of my own head and like ignoring the outside noise, the experience itself was like not super difficult.
that's great. And I just realized I forgot to ask, like, where did the D&B and jungle stuff come from for you? Because it seemed like
Definitely there's just the drums, like Everything But the Girl and Bjork. And I mean, and this isn't D&B at all, but John Bapp, like I really love the just having melodic shit happening and then the drums having like a moment. And I think when I post the very first tape that I put out, sad, I don't even remember the name because it's on Bandcamp only. Aw. That's my first baby though. But I
Burn It Down, right?
no, that's a terrible song no one should listen to, but I'm not deleting my work. The Little Things Move You Along. That was like
There you go.
drums and instrumentation put together. And then I realized like I like fast. And even when I was in this drum program, I paid for a 6-month like drum intensive because I wanted to like play catch up. And one of the teachers was a jungle D&B drummer, and I wasn't at the level where I could study with him yet, and I also couldn't afford to study with him, but I just loved walking past his room and like listening to him break up those chops live, and I'm like, that is insane. Like that is insane. I want to work with that. So what I would do is I'd play drums and I'd speed up my own, kind of like cheating, or I would just chop up some breaks, but I am not a live jungle drummer. I just like love the speed, but also how it doesn't make a song so intense. Like you can throw a melody on there and it's just like the smoothest shit ever, which is like everything but the girl makes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, like that's like the perfect way to kind of capture that appeal, because like most of the time, you know, like it really is like somebody playing drums through like 6 layers of plastic. Like that's what those drums always sound like to me. And I mean like those can be intense if you want them to be, but more often that you know, you like you can throw like additional drums behind it, like some 808s if you want, or you could just put a melody over it, or you could do like my son did on the lot radio and just like play trumpet over. I can't remember his name, but like the Japanese trumpeter who like he did some shit like that like 2 months or maybe it was more than 2 months ago, but like he went on the lot radio, put on a break beat and just started playing horn over it. And I was like,
Such a mood. It's it like you could even throw bass in there, but I think Jungle Bricks are great because they're low key so bassy that they ask for a melody. You could do bass. I feel like that's where it would make sense. If he like brought in a bass player with him, it would be like a whole thing. So it's really sick that he did that. Do you know his name? Or can you
I wish. I'm a find it when we're done, and for anybody else, I'll like post it somewhere, or you can. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'm just mad I can't remember his name. Maybe I'll look it up while I ask this. But yeah, I mean, like that's one of the things I've always loved about jungle and D&B. It's so versatile. You can really do anything with it, and like obviously people just rap over it as is. Like that's like where grime comes from, like and you're like a lot of those like grime dudes don't even consider themselves like rappers in the traditional sense, or at least at first they did. And I know like JME has talked about it a lot, where he's been like, I didn't even really consider myself a rapper at one point, but like you're rapping, son. Like that's what that is. But yeah, like I just it and then on top of that, like it's having this like, I guess you could call it like a revival over the course of the last like 4 or 5 years. Like it just like, I've always been super fascinated by it, but it's just nice to see a lot of different people like you, and like we can get big with like Pink Pantherists and all of them and all that shit. But like it's just cool to see, like it's cool to see kind of the pendulum come back around to it, because it's just, I don't know, like once you hear it, it's so distinct, and it's just, I don't know, it's just like etched itself into my brain, like and like going back to my fascination with dance music, like a lot of the dance stuff I was listening to was like D&B shit, and like as a gamer, like D&B gets used in games all the time.
yeah.
So it's just always kind of been a part of the framework. But like you make these 2 projects, and then Truest happens, and Truest is a little more expansive and ambitious because it's not just you producing. There's like 1 feature on the whole thing, and like Mike's on it, and you're singing a lot more. Like you're kind of starting to come into your own as a vocalist. So like what about this project was screaming, now is the time for me to kind of move into vocals? Because I thought because like, I mean, like obviously it's a really nice touch. I hope that didn't come across as me being like, why did you do, like
not at all, because literally, why did I do that? I think it was like I've touched little, like there's one song on Pressure Sensitive, I think it's like the second to last track, that I'm singing for literally 3 seconds, and for like probably up until Truest came out, I would not call myself a singer. I still kind of like cringe a little. I like to call myself a songwriter because takes a little pressure off. But I think like, and in Blair, there would be some parts where we would sing in unison. And I knew I eventually wanted to try that, but I think something, there's something so political about Black femme vocalists specifically, that like you have to sound a certain way, or like if you start singing, you're immediately an R&B singer. And like, I do not want to be boxed in. I feel like I haven't said that enough on this on this Zoom. I'm just like, I don't want to be boxed in, because I want to just keep making, and I know it's not up to me, so I need to get over that. But I think I was just trying to like make sure for myself I'm not doing it to like brand myself as a thing. But I was making these beats, and I was like, okay, I could make another beat tape and have a bunch of features, but I did that already. Like, and then I'm listening to them, I'm like, all right, I'm writing songs to them, and I'm like, maybe we'll just throw a couple songs on there, and then we'll have a bunch of features. But I'm like, I think you're just trying to avoid a new challenge and the inevitable, which is like, you're enjoying writing songs and singing, so just keep doing it. Like, it's fine. And yeah, I did it. And then I always do this thing where I'll send a track to my brother, and I'll send a track to Mike. And I'm like, they have no idea what I'm working on, and their response tells me a lot. Like, I should keep doing this, or this is cool, but try something else. And they were both like, bro, like, you got more of that? And I'm like, okay, we're good, keep going. Yeah, and then Truest came. And it was nice to also hit up other producers too, because I'm like, what do I sound like on other tracks? So yeah, I like this direction, and it also feels like I appreciate you saying that it's like not necessarily like I don't know exactly how you said it, but it's not like an R&B album. Although there are a lot of lazy writers who have called it that, and I understand, I get the notion, but it's not an R&B album.
Yeah,
It's something else. Not I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on. I'm still finding my. I'm still experimenting, but I like what I've put together, and I want to keep exercising what that looks like on a broader scale.
definitely. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't call this an R&B album. You know, like there's too many, like not to say that R&B can't have like other elements and other different kinds of music mix. I mean, obviously not, but like, yeah, there's like this is not an R&B album. This is not like a, you know, like saying you know, like I would even go so far as to say like, you know, like there's a like I kind of felt the same way when Kia put out Forever Your Girl. Like I wouldn't exactly call that an R&B album either.
They
You
will.
know,
I think
like
the black femme here singing R&B, and I'm like, that's
yeah.
or you know, for a little razzle dazzle, they'll throw in alternative R&B, and I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, just let it be. Yeah, I understand it, but um, and I mean, eventually maybe it'll there like the R&B artists that are out now, like I don't even maybe I am struggling to call that R&B. Like I listened to some of the PND, the new PND album this morning because I'm a huge
Yeah.
I love PND, and I'm like, I guess people would call this R&B. And I listened to the new Bryson Tiller. Like I've just been kind of going back to like what is on the charts R&B, and I'm like, this does not sound like what I'm thinking R&B is. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got a different definition of what you know, like it depends on the like it depends on the era you're referencing because like it could yeah because like are we talking about like are we talking because like a lot of people will also just like confuse R&B and soul music. Like soul music isn't exact. I mean I don't know,
Yeah.
like genre in general is a difficult thing to kind of parse. Like there's elements and then it can get mixed easy, and obviously like time period plays into that because like 90s R&B sounds different from 2000s R&B. Like 2010s R&B is even weirder and kind of more out there, and like it's all just nebulous, you know. It's like I hate to kind of boil it down to feeling, but it can really just be a feeling sometimes. I don't know, but like
I mean it's rhythm and blues, so I think
yeah.
it's not wrong to call it a feeling.
And you're like it can and you're like rhythm and blues means you know like there's lots of ways to put forth rhythm, you know. It's nebulous. It's I almost feel like it's nebulous by design, and I think for a lot of people it tends to come down to like a songwriting thing and a passion thing. And I mean like Blackness obviously has a lot to play into that too, but it's it's a feeling, you know. It's I once again I hate to be so general, but like
I'm with you. I'm team is a feeling. You're not
and you know like and you're like going through Truest again today. There were two songs I wanted to touch on. I think the first one being Test Your Patience, just because of like I don't know, like that's like that like there's such an atmosphere created on that song that's just like I could like that and Amplitude. Like I could live in those songs, man. Like
so
they're
much.
they're just like they just feel really good to like sit with and listen to, and like and just like the way your vocals are kind of flying around everything. Like talk to me about making those two songs, because I think those are the two I've walked out of here like these like Amplitude's on my playlist for the whole year. Like I have a playlist of all my favorite songs, and that's Amplitude is crazy. Like of course the first time I heard it, I was driving home from Newark, and I think I might have played it back like 4 times. I was like, yeah, this is the one. Like
I wasn't even sure. I was like ending with this one. Like I feel like I definitely it's so interesting you chose those two songs because I feel like when I made them, I made those two songs around the same time. So in my head, they're like so like obviously you get paid the big bucks to do what you do because you picked up on that. And I'm just like, this I don't know what, I think the headspace that I was in when I was making both those songs is like, I think the era that I'm in general is like, I am in a male dominated industry, and I think there is a lot of like separating that I want to do with myself in terms of like how I want to present myself as a queer Black femme, but not necessarily having to like, now the new brand is like, I'm just sexy singing girl, which is no shade because I love a sexy singing girl down, but that's not
Yeah,
me.
who doesn't? Like,
That's not
right.
like, how can I like bring more feeling to my music and be a little bit more candid and a little bit more intimate, but also still like and within my comfort level. So I think when I wrote both of those songs, that's where I was coming from. Like, Test Your Patience specifically, we'll start with that one, is like, I was definitely in a flirty bag. Like, I was like, I heard the beat and I was like, okay, I heard the beat, as in I made the beat. And I'm like, okay, I hear this. Like, I'm getting ready to go to the club and I'm feeling like I want somebody to flirt with me and I want to flirt back. And then I just kind of wrote from that POV, and it felt right. And then with Amplitude, it was a bit more of like yearning. And I'm such a lover girl. Like, I'm such a big romantic. And if you couldn't hear it on the album, like, I can write, I tried to write a song from the POV of like, fuck these niggas ain't shit. And there is a time and place for that, but I actually enjoy like writing about yearning way more. Like, I just enjoy that. So I think when I wrote Amplitude, I was like, what is the POV of like, just shit's not really going the way it needs to go, but you're just like, you're feeling, like, what is that feeling? What is that? And I feel like I've been in so many situations as a yearner. So that was same with Selfish Freestyle, yearning. I was yearning.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell. I could tell. Yeah, and yeah, like I'm actually happy you brought that up because yeah, this is a very like I say, like I say this in like the broadest way possible, but this is a very romantic album. Like I would say, like I would say even more than the other two. Like there's, like there's a lot, like there's a lot of yearning, flirtatious energy here. There's like a lot of just like, it's like searching for love. Like and just kind of like doing that through these crazy rhythms, and like that's, I don't know, like like we're definitely at a point now where I feel like all music in general, but like whatever this kind of pop, like people are just down to yearn. Like, like we've been locked up, or like we were locked up in the house for a little while. And like I think we're all still kind of getting over that,
Yeah.
like we're still getting over that, and we're still figuring out what it means to, I mean, like just speaking for myself, like I kind of have a difficult time. I've been noticing that I have a little bit more of a difficult time being in like big social situations than I used to. Like I feel a little more anxious than I used to about it. And it has nothing to do with the people themselves 90% of the time, but like it's definitely just like an air of like, how do I be around people again? Like
Yeah.
how do like, and like I think a big part of that is letting yourself go and just kind of moving with the flow and communicating with people based on how they present themselves to you, like whether that's platonically, romantically, whatever, so I think like I think in that way this album really, like, I'm glad you said all of that because it definitely reflects in the music, you know.
Yeah, I think my previous work has been just instrumental, and I was trying to convey the same thing without having to say anything. So it felt nice to like just give myself the space to like, now I'm comfortable enough and confident enough to like start playing with words and seeing what lands. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no doubt. Like just like between that and like the Nia Archives album that just came out, I feel like those two kind of fit that. And like to a, I mean, yeah, the Pink Pantheress album too, like y'all three really kind of locked in on that in, like in that way.
Oh, and learn. That's the recipe. But
Hey man,
true shit. It makes
No,
it
like yeah.
less like it makes it less like sappy. I have nothing wrong with sap, but like I can be
Right.
to the moon. So like let's create an ambience that will want to keep me there. Because when it gets too solemn, that's when I'm like, now I'm in my head, and now I'm like, I'm actually sad. I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. No, like and and I feel like a big part of this music is kind of channeling like like just kind of like channeling the passion that can come from sadness into something that's like constructive is the wrong word. That's like healing's also the wrong word, but like
I feel where you're with those two, something combined there.
yeah, just like it's like kind of melancholy, but not really. It's more like I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like melancholic is pro- probably a cool place to stop there, but yeah, like I just think like it's dope to see you at the point where you feel confident enough to be like, this is the Yearning album. Like this is just me, kind of just like 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 it's very inviting in that way, and that's really dope. Like it's I feel like we always need more of that stuff. I feel like people take themselves too seriously, and like not to say that there aren't serious things excuse me going on, but like we need to like life is here to live,
Exactly.
and a big part of that is yearning. So like fuck it.
Exactly. I could not have said it better myself.
Well, man, like this has been great. I feel like we could go for like another 2 hours easy, but to wrap this up, Anysia, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
If I say yearning. No, honestly, my life would be I like to flirt with life. I think my Venus is in Aries. I'm a triple Earth. I'm
Wow.
the astrology, but yeah, I'm a Taurus, Sun, Cap, Moon, Virgo rising, and then we get to my Venus and Mars, and those are fire signs. And the I love being, like practical, but I also love the chaos and the um the unexpectedness of love and romance. Like I don't have like fear of rejection is like everyone has that to a degree, but that doesn't really stop me. And I think if I
Right.
like for a movie, it would just be about constant like flirtation with life and life's chaos and what life throws you, and
Yeah.
love up on your people better. Yeah.
That's that's too real. I mean, I'm let me see if I get this right. I am a Pisces sun, Virgo moon. I don't remember what my rising is.
Okay.
But like I feel I don't know, just like
Be very childlike wonder is what I get from Pisces. So there's
yeah.
a desire to search for meaning. Both of my parents are Pisces. Yeah, I feel like you would understand. You would get what I'm saying.
Like very, very, very like lust for life vibes, like I'm always down for an adventure. I just want to love up on everybody in my life as best as I can. I like to think I'm a nurturer. I want to support everybody, solve every problem, sometimes to a fault, so like but like I think that's what comes with wanting to just like flirt with life and take it, and it's like let it take you where it takes you. So yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Fire. But yo, this was so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was awesome, and I've learned so much about movies too. So I appreciate it.
Nah, I'm always happy. I'm always happy to teach when I can. And yeah, just like seeing the way the music's been going and just like getting to know you better. Like this was great. Like I'm really excited to see where you go next. I'm excited to see where yearning takes you next. Like
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time. Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.